Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tipped. Julian here for another weekend episode, this one for the weekend of week 4. Before we jump into it guys, drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you do want to take that support to the next level, be sure to hit that join button either on YouTube or on my Patreon. If you do join on my Patreon, you're able to DM with me one-on-one, ask me any fantasy related questions you want. There are plenty other perks as well, like early access videos, which is really great. Okay, let's jump into the main content of this video and let's take a look at the schedule for this weekend. And on Friday, there are 6 games, Saturday 11, and Sunday 7. Now, most likely you're able to fit players on Friday and Sunday, but it's not like Saturday is the busiest night in the world. You probably maybe also have room on Saturday as well. So check your lineup and then adjust this video based on what you actually have room for. We're going to talk about Friday, Saturday players, and Friday, Sunday players, and then players that play on Saturday and Sunday. So really make the pickup based on what suits your needs. Let's take a look at the teams that play Friday and Saturday first, and those teams are Buffalo, Columbus, Dallas, Florida, and Ottawa. And to make things easier for you guys, I'll be ranking the players from those teams in order of who I think you should be picking up in order to give you guys a good idea of the best player to pick up. For me, if Matt Duchene is available, he's been insanely hot and he's the number 1 pickup. Sam Bennett's the number 2 pickup. No longer PP1, but the dude's been insanely hot this year and gives you a pretty safe floor. Logan Stankoven's playing on the top line in Dallas. Not PP1, the dude's definitely got a pretty nice floor. Josh Norris is PP1 in line 2 in Ottawa and has been pretty freaking good so far. And as long as this dude stay healthy, he's really good and he's definitely a great option for this weekend if you need someone for Friday, Saturday. JJ Peterka, top line, top PP in Buffalo, been scoring some goals. Really solid. Igor Chinikov and Kirill Marchenko are really good players on the Columbus Blue Jackets to be having. Chinikov just gained that left wing eligibility, which is great since he has been playing left wing the entire season. So both really good ads for this weekend. Along with fellow Blue Jacket, Sean Monahan, who's been insanely hot on that top line and top PP in Columbus. Tyler Seguin and Mason Marchment been playing on that second line in Dallas. Both have been pretty decent so far this year, putting up quite a bit of points. Dylan Cousins, second line center, as well as top power play in Buffalo, hasn't been too bad this year. Then Lundell has been incredibly good, replacing Barkov on that top line. But Barkov is back now, which is why I dropped Lundell quite a bit down this list. But still a pretty decent ad for the weekend if you need somebody. Jason Zucker is getting top power play on Buffalo, and Cole Sillinger is getting top power play in Columbus. And as long as you're scoring as many goals as they are, Sillinger could be a decent ad. If you need someone for Friday and Sunday, which is probably the majority of you guys, the Calgary Flames, the Minnesota Wild, the New York Islanders, the New York Rangers, the Tampa Bay Lightning, and the Winnipeg Jets are the teams that you're going to want to be adding players from. Now, the number 1 player that I would add is Nazem Kadri. Now, I know he hasn't been that great this year, but he's definitely the person I trust the most out of all the guys on this list to give you a pretty safe floor and put up some points. Gabriel Velarde is the next guy I trust the most. He hasn't been that amazing either, but the deployment is really good, top line and top power play, so he definitely could go off at any point. Kyle Palmieri has been really good as well, playing on that top power play in New York and shooting the puck quite a bit. Anthony Cirelli has been insanely hot, playing on that second line with Hagel, which is not bad, and as long as he's hot, guys, like that's a pretty solid stream. Cole Perfetti and Nino Niederreiter playing on the second and third lines in Winnipeg, respectively. Both have been doing really well, and they're both solid ads. Anders Lee of the New York Islanders has been shooting the puck an insane amount, and he has been elevated to the top power play. So definitely quite a bit of upside there, and if he's shooting that much, he's going to score goals. Will Cooley and Filipino are both on the third line in New York and have both been pretty good so far this year. Cooley's a little bit better than Hedl because Cooley does provide that safe floor with the hits that he dishes out. Filipino is only 3% rostered and has quite a bit of offensive upside. Nicholas Paul is the center of the third line in Tampa Bay and has been pretty good so far. He's pretty hot. Blake Coleman gives you a pretty safe floor with his hits and his shots, and his points haven't been that bad this year. Marco Rossi is on the top line with Kirill Kaprizov and Matt Zuccarello. Even though he's not top power play, that's a great place for him to be. Connor Zary is on the top line with Kadri and has been pretty decent this year, and Riley Smith is on the line with Mika Zibanejad and Chris Kreider, and honestly, hasn't been too bad this year either. Going even deeper, Maxim Siplikov is playing with Brock Nelson and Palmieri on that second line. He hasn't been too bad this year. Then I have Jonathan Huberdeau and Andrei Kuzmenko playing on whatever you want to call it, probably the second line in Calgary with Sharangovich, and they haven't been that great lately, but definitely still have a little bit of upside. They could go off at any time. Capo Caco playing on that line with Hedel and Goalie, who you already saw on this list, so has quite a bit of upside there if that line stays hot. Vladislav Nemesnikov is playing on the second line in Winnipeg with Perfetti and Ehlers, both who are pretty hot right now, so definitely not a bad streamer. Mikhail Backlund, third line center in Calgary, never a bad ad as a streamer. And Marcus Foligno, someone who gives you a safe floor with his shots and his hits, and potentially could put up a couple points as well. As for Saturday and Sunday, there are 5 teams that play both those days. Those teams are the Boston Bruins, Chicago Blackhawks, Seattle Kraken, Toronto Maple Leafs, and Washington Capitals. The best guys to be picking up, in my opinion, are Tom Wilson and Dylan Strome. Now, even though Tom Wilson most recently wasn't on the top power play, the dude gives you an insanely safe floor night in and night out with those shots on goal and hits. Really, really good. And he's been putting up points too this year, which isn't bad. Then Dylan Strome doesn't give you quite as safe of a floor, but he's been putting up a whole lot of points playing on the top power play and top line in Washington. Elias Lindholm, while he has been pretty cold lately, is playing on the top line and top power play with Pasternak and Marchand. Dude's gonna heat up. Connor McMichael's been really hot this year in Washington as well, playing on the second line with Wilson. Jordan Eberle is playing on the top line in Seattle with Matty Beniers, who you see a little bit lower on this list. Both are good ads, and Seattle's offense really came to life against the Montreal Canadiens, where they scored 8 goals, so maybe they're going to start scoring more goals from here on out. Maybe they unlocked, finally, that potential. And Matthew Nyes is playing on the top line with Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner, which is a great deployment to be at. Nick Foligno, top line, top power play with Bedard. Pacioretty, second line with Nylander and Tavares. And as long as he sticks in that spot, should have some success. Alexei Protas is playing on the top line with Alex Ovechkin and Dylan Strome. As long as he stays there, he should be continuing to get points, which he has been doing, and he's 0% rostered. Oliver Bjorkstrand, Jason Schwartz, and Eli Tolvanen are all in the Seattle Kraken. Eli Tolvanen is playing on a line with Chandler Stevenson and Burakovsky, and Schwartz is playing with Bjorkstrand and Shane Wright. All kind of came to life the other night against Montreal, so hopefully they can continue that momentum. I do love myself some Bjorkstrand. And then finally, Pierre-Luc Dubois is playing on the top power play and second line in Washington. It hasn't been too bad, but the deployment is really good. Jumping into defensemen now, and the top defenseman to be adding is Oliver Ekman-Larsson. I know he hasn't been that hot, but he is in the top power play in Toronto, and as long as he's there, the upside is there. Jacob Middleton has been incredible. I doubt it's going to last, but the peripherals have been good, and he's actually been putting up points. Riker Evans has been super hot. Since Dunn got injured, the dude's been stepping up with some decent peripherals and has been scoring points as well, and is getting power play time. Thomas Chabot is pretty solid as well, getting PP2 time in Ottawa. He hasn't been amazing, but at least there's a bit of a floor there. JJ Moser is the PP2 guy in Tampa. I know PP2 in Tampa isn't that great, but he's managed to put up some points every now and then, but not a safe floor at all since he doesn't put up a lot of peripherals. Jonas Brodin is decent for peripherals with like block shots and stuff, but don't expect too much from him. Owen Power has been okay too, PP2 in Buffalo. I'm not expecting a lot from him either. Jake McCabe gives you a little bit of a safe floor, but not a lot of points. Pollock, same kind of thing. Great safe floor, not a lot of points. Same with Alexiak, safe floor, not a lot of points. And Pellick is the exact same thing, and he is 0% rostered. If you want a goalie to stream for Sunday, there are 6 options for goalies who are under 60% rostered. Lucas Destal is my favorite option. He's been fantastic this year and likely gets a not very good Chicago Blackhawks team. Should be a win for him. Dustin Wolf against the Edmonton Oilers, who haven't been that great and are without Connor McDavid. That should be a pretty decent stream for Dustin Wolf. Jonas Korpisalo, if he gets the Sunday game against Seattle, isn't a terrible stream. Boston does play Saturday and Sunday against Philadelphia and Seattle, so if he gets Saturday, you can stream him Saturday against Philadelphia, but if he gets Sunday, he's not a bad streamer against Seattle. And then Seattle, whoever they end up playing against Boston, Decord or Grubauer. Grubauer is only 10% rostered, and Decord is 61% rostered, so you could stream them. And then Charlie Lindgren of the Washington Capitals is going to be the starter on Sunday in all likelihood if they continue that goalie, starting one, then the other, and then the other. That's going to be the starter against Carolina. But Carolina is a tough opponent, but they do actually shoot the puck quite a bit. So even if he doesn't win, and even if he lets in quite a few goals, he might get you quite a bit of fantasy points if you are in a points-based league. And finally, Arvid Soderblom is a goalie who I think is very bad, and I don't think he's going to get the win against Anaheim, and he's probably going to let in quite a few goals. Jumping into the categories league section of this video now, and if you do need shots on goal, the number one guy to be streaming is Anders Lee. Shoots 4.4 times per game so far this season, which has been fantastic. And if you do stream him for 2 games, he'll get you like 8 or 9 shots, which is fantastic. Sam Bennett shoots 3.5 times, Monahan 3.4, Kadri 3.3, Cousins 3.2, Coleman 3.0, Connor McMichael 2.8, Philip Hedl and Kala Palmieri both 2.7. If you need blocks, Chris Tanev blocks 3.8 times per game, so he's definitely the number one guy to be adding. And Alec Martinez, in the few games that he did play, also had been blocking 3.8 times per game. He might be back. Do not add this guy until you're confirming that he is healthy and back in the lineup. Jacob Middleton's the next guy for blocks, 3.0 blocks per game. Brendan Carlo, same thing, 3 blocks per game. And then Romanov and White Kaiser of the Islanders and Chicago Blackhawks, 2.7 blocks per game. If you need hits, number one guy to be adding is Will Cooley, who's been hitting 4.3 times per game. Then Kostelik, 3.8. Cartier, 3.6. Olivier, 3.5. Then Foligno, Frederick, and Wilson, all 3.4 times per game. So Wilson's a great add if you need hits and if you need some offensive production. Face-off wins, the number one guy to add if you need 2 games. It's Sean Monahan. Over 2 games, he should get you 22 to 23 face-off wins, which is absolutely fantastic. Kadri 10.2, Lowry 9.6, Strome 9.3, Pajot 9.2, Dowd 8.1, Lundell 8.0, Dickinson 7.8, and Beniers 7.4. And that's it for this video today, guys. If you did enjoy it, drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.